one of the big questions that we're often asked is, how do girls get trafficked in the first place? And I think it's really important to understand that that it happens a lot of different ways. It's a really complex issue. So, one of the things I think that we need to clarify is that the myth of girls being kidnapped or taken by force is really very rare. It happens very seldom because there's so many easier ways for traffickers to get girls. One of the things that we see often around the world, particularly in areas where there's tremendous vulnerability in a community or within a family, is that families are very desperate and they see girls as being an asset and a resource. And so we do see girls that are sold into brothels, sold to pedophiles, or sold to other situations where they're going to be exploited. We also see situations where girls are promised opportunities, whether it's opportunities to go and model in some foreign city. They're promised a job where they'll have an opportunity to make money for themselves or their families, and they move and are therefore in a situation where they're vulnerable. Or it's a situation where we see girls that make friendships with, whether it's a male or female, and that person becomes the pimp, the trafficker, the mediator that then takes advantage of them and puts them in situations where they're exploited and trafficked. So it's extremely complex, and I think it's important for us to realize that there's a lot of entry points for girls, including situations where girls believe that if they go to work at a karaoke bar or a strip club or someplace that seems like it's benign and not harmful, will find themselves in highly exploitative situations where they are basically being raped and sold and treated in very horrible ways. So it's an extremely complex issue, and I think when we begin to recognize that, we see the breadth of the problem, that this is really an issue of the status of girls and women, as well as an issue of exploitation and power, of people taking advantage of vulnerable populations, families, and individuals around the world.